Hi, this is a presentation of an European project calling transnationale Kooperation from the VHS Pforzheim-Enzkreis.
The Tale of the Digital Storm. Once upon a time, there was a teacher called Cecilia. She was working in a school for adult education in Borås, teaching Swedish for immigrants. She woke up at 6 o'clock every morning and got ready for work. She did the 1-hour bus trip to Borås every morning, mostly sleeping on the bus, sometimes working. She worked for 8 hours, 4 hours lesson with her class, which she loved. To interact with the students and to see them grow and develop in their Swedish was the benefit of her work, she thought. The rest 4 hours was a mix of planning, meetings, copying and correcting, and also to have a chat with her great colleagues, of course. She was lucky to have helpful and caring colleagues. Around 5 p.m. she was heading back home on the bus for an hour, always sleeping. She really enjoyed her work, even if it was tiring sometimes. The hours rushed so quickly at work because she loved it. But it ran quickly back home too, and suddenly it was time for bed. Suddenly, a Wednesday in the middle of March 2020, everything changed from one day to another. She had heard about the coronavirus, but she was not prepared for what was coming. The headmaster informed the teachers to get prepared to work at home full-time online. They got 2 days to prepare their students and themselves. It was a Wednesday, and on Monday, the week after, it was online teaching for all students in school. A lot of students didn't have computers and no experience of online teaching at all. The first thing the teachers had to prepare was lending out computers and providing internet to students who didn't have any of that. Luckily, they got help from IT colleagues. Next time was thinking out the best way to teach online. Cecilia had never taught online courses before. Where to begin? Fortunately, SFI and Borås have had good teamwork before the pandemic, so all colleagues helped one another. It was like preparing for a storm that no one could be prepared for, a storm of insecurity, but also a storm of development and progress. And what a progress. The teachers gathered all information about online teaching and tried to find out which learning and video platforms they could use for their teaching. They ended up with Google Meet and WhatsApp. Cecilia had never used FaceTime or Skype or any other device for an online meeting before, because she had never ever needed it. Now it was essential. In 1 week's time, they were on track, the digital track. Some of the teachers used WhatsApp, but most of them used Google Meet and a digital learning platform called Ping Pong.
Ping Pong was used before the online teaching, but now it developed rapidly since the way, Entschuldigung, aber ich habe keine Brille dabei, es geht nicht, ich dachte es geht, aber Ping Pong was used before the online teaching, but now it developed rapidly since this way was the way to mediate the tasks and to interact with the students, except for the online lessons on Meet and WhatsApp. The first lesson of the teachers The first lessons the teachers were taught was that the key to success in online teaching was summed up in 3 words: structure, simplicity, clarity. Material, apps and other digital devices had to be used in a structured way and to be connected to the online lessons so the students easily could get going. If not, you were lost. But as a student, both as a student and as a teacher. The first 2 months were chaotic. The teachers worked overtime and were online more than they ever had been, and it was hard to find a limit between work and private life. It felt as if they were online 24/7. In autumn, things stabilized in the online teaching, and Cecilia had found a rhythm and a balance between work and private life. She could go for a walk in her break, and she had more time in the afternoon since she didn't have to spend time on the bus anymore. The possibility to plan her time was much better than before, and the time she spent on the bus earlier she could now spend with her family, friends, or an exercise. She had also learned how to use more functions in Google Meet, so she could easily have breakout rooms and other helpful functions. It had actually turned out quite well. The students were progressing, and the results showed that they managed to do the exam at the same time as before. An evaluation in Cecilia's class showed that the students missed to be in a classroom and to interact, but they thought that twice a week would be enough in school. Online lessons were developed so they could interact and also get help individually.
Today we have been teaching online for more than a year, and it feels natural. I'm actually a bit nervous to go back to how it was before, but it will never be as before. The storm has changed everything in my teaching. I will never be the same teacher again.
In this project, in this European project, we worked in groups, and we worked with stories, telling stories, and we used a triangle for talking about these stories, a triangle with 3 poles. One is the vision pole, the other one is the emotional pole, and the other one is the structural pole. And so the participants reading these stories had to answer to some questions you will hear now after it, thinking about the emotional axis, structural axis, and the regional axis. This was our kind of work in this project.
Hi.
Hello.
The story, how did you like it? What is the main subject?
The main subjects are the feelings of a teacher during the Corona pandemic.
Mm-hmm. And what touches you emotionally?
The transition of the way of teaching touches me. And I also have a question.
Okay.
Which kind of issue did the author choose? Is it more emotional, structural, or a theme of vision?
The issue that the author used is the point of view from the third person, and she is the emotionally. It's a mix of fear, shock, insecurity, surprise, interest, and optimism also.